All right. We're going to start, hopefully, get a couple more people in here. We'll see. Might have to make some adjustments to how I'm going to go about things. We'll see. All right. Okay. So today, the first thing I want to go over with you guys today is just what exactly the assignments are and what exactly it's going to look like for you guys, because these two assignments this week are going to be in the grade book as summative assignments. And so I want to just kind of go over with you what that means in with this format that we've got going on, and how grading will go and all of that stuff. So that's the first thing. Second thing is I want to go over the prompt that we're going to be working with, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to brainstorm some ideas to just sort of get you started like I did with the first class. So that's the goal. So first class ran about 50 minutes. We'll see how long this class takes, but I'm thinking around there. All right, I'm going to share my screen, and then we'll get going. Okay, so here I'm going to open up a couple things, kind of go over some stuff with you first. Let's go over the standards and the learning targets for this week. All right. Move this over. Okay. So the standards for this week, we got 3 of them that we're going to be addressing. The first one is all about determining a theme or central idea. So stuff that we've been working on for the past couple weeks, just with those poems. We're going to be working with all 3 poems this week. You're going to be looking at a shared central idea between all 3 of them. The second one is all about analyzing how an author takes from previous works and integrates that material into their own work. So with the fact that these three poems, the one by Marlowe or Raleigh, and we have William Carlos Williams' poem, all 3 of those poems engage in a sort of conversation with one another. That's what that standard is all about. Then we have a writing standard here, where you're developing a topic with well-chosen and relevant facts, and you're using precise language and domain-specific vocabulary to manage a complex topic. So what does all that mean? Well, in learning target form, we've got these 2. The first one, I can identify a central idea or theme shared by poems by Marlowe, Raleigh, and Williams. That's our first goal. And then our second goal for the week, I can analyze how this shared central idea develops over the course of these 3 poems. So that's what we're looking at as far as our learning targets for this week. You're going to be looking at central ideas and be analyzing them. So there's that. Okay, before we start, because what we're doing today hinges on your understanding of what the assignments are, I want to make sure I'm going over those with you first, so that there's no confusion. So if at any point you have a question or you're confused, please let me know so that I can clarify that as soon as possible. So this first one here is assignment number 8. Keep in mind, both 8 and 9 are part of an end of unit assessment. Okay, so what's the word? So both of these are summative, right? You can think of it as like 2 halves of the same grade. Now, when I say summative, I mean that they will go in the grade book as summative. All the grading rules that we've been operating under still apply, as far as the grade has to help you and all that stuff. But you want to make sure that you're putting a lot of effort into this. This could be especially helpful for you if your grade is not quite where you would like it to be. This could actually do a lot in helping boost that up for you. Okay, so keep that in mind. So this first one, assignment number 8, this one asks you to develop an outline. So we have our prompt. How does a shared central idea develop over the course of the 3 poems from this unit. So we've talked about in the previous weeks how all 3 of these poems engage in a conversation with one another. They're all talking about the same topic, and they all have different takes on a similar theme. So our goal is to figure out exactly what that theme is. All right. So here, make sure that you read through this. I just kind of explain a lot of what I'm about to say, but just read through that. So this is the first half of your summative grade. And usually this is something that we would do in class, right, before you write a full essay. So we've done outlining activities in the past, so this should be pretty familiar to you. But I tried to make it easy for you in that I've prompted you with all of these things here. So all you have to do is go through it, and you're basically just filling things in. So if you look at the intro, I need 3 things. I need a hook, so something that captures the reader's interest. How would you start this essay if it was an actual essay? I need like a sentence there. How would you introduce the poems? What topics would you discuss? And then a thesis that answers the prompt, that tells me what shared central idea develops over the course of those 3 poems. And then you go through, claim 1, claim 2, claim 3. I should probably actually fix that. Claim 2, claim 3. And then the evidence for each one. And then evidence, reasoning, just like the stuff that we would normally do there. Each claim should cover a different poem. So each paragraph would cover one of the 3 poems that we've looked at over the course of these past couple weeks. One for Marlowe, one for Raleigh, one for Williams. And then your conclusion, restate thesis, summarize your 3 main points, and you revisit your introduction. So this first assignment then is just a pretty simple outlining activity. This is how I would see how you would organize your full argument if you were going to write a full essay. Okay. Any questions about this? Anything that needs to be clarified?
Nope.
All right. Let's look at assignment 9. So at first, when I was planning this, I was thinking to myself, well, maybe I'll have them write a full essay. And then I realized that the chances of you guys actually writing a full essay at home is probably pretty low. So as a compromise, you only need, oh boy. Yes. So as a compromise, to try to make it a little easier for you, also a little more realistic considering our situation, you only need to write 3 paragraphs. One is the intro, one is the conclusion, right? And those are pretty easy to start with. I only need 1 body paragraph. So the way that these 2 assignments work with each other, you're going to plan the whole thing, right? So that's going to show me how your thought process develops, what sort of evidence you would choose, things like that. So I get to see a lot of information with 8. But assignment 9, I just need you to pick one of these main points to develop at length. So it ends up only being three paragraphs. So hopefully that's a little more reasonable for you. That was the goal. So that's what we're looking at. So we're all we're doing this week is we're taking the information that you guys looked at in previous weeks and just figuring out what a shared central idea could be. And that's pretty much it. All right, so today, what I want to do then is to give you guys something to kind of like jumpstart your thought process and really get you thinking in the mindset that you need to be in for these assignments. So if you look on the stream, if you guys could open this, it says copy of Marlowe, Raleigh, and Williams. You could click on that. All of you have editing access. Actually, hold on. Let me make sure you all have editing access. Now you have editing access. Sorry about that. Okay, so if you guys could all open this, or as many of you as possible, here's how this will work. Now, this went very well in the first class, so hopefully this goes well here. So when I'm in a couple minutes after I explain this, I'm going to basically just turn this over to you guys. And I want as many of you to be able to edit this as possible. But then if you, for some reason, can't access it, then you can always talk through Zoom to each other to get information down. But I'm going to walk out of the room in a couple minutes, and I'm going to mute this so that I can't hear you. And you guys are going to have a conversation about this, okay? With each other, with the goal of getting as much information down on this as possible. And this is going to help us to, like I said, just brainstorm and get our ideas down. So again, if we can get as many people on here as possible, that would be awesome. Once we are done with this, we're going to go over it, and then that's pretty much it for the day. So it's a pretty easy day. We're just sort of reviewing everything that we've talked about. So we have our prompt here at the top. How does a shared central idea develop over the course of the 3 poems from this unit? So a very good idea would be to have the 3 poems open. So the Marlowe poem, Raleigh, and Williams. And if you're unsure where to find them, they're in classwork. There's one for each week. Raleigh, the nymph's reply, and then the passionate shepherd. So having those open would be a good idea while we are working on this. So you have a section for each author. And what I want you guys to do as a group, either through discussion, and then you got like 1 or 2 people adding to this, or you all are on here and all are adding. I want you guys to come up with a central idea for each of Marlowe, Raleigh, and Williams, with the goal of trying to make them similar, because ultimately we're trying to figure out what the shared central idea is. So what's the central idea based on everything that we've talked about? What are some supporting details and quotes that you could use as evidence? So it would be a good idea to have the documents open for that. And then just really brief, I don't need a paragraph or anything like that, like 1 or 2 sentences. What's some reasoning? How does that supporting detail or quote connect to the central idea? All right, so I got 3 people on here so far. Hopefully we get a couple more. But if you cannot access this, feel free to talk to each other through Zoom to get ideas down. Now, you're going to get a participation credit for this. So please, everyone participate either verbally or by typing it. I'm going to go back in the recording to see who contributed, and that's how I'm going to grade you. So I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to leave the room for about 10 minutes. You guys have 10 minutes to collaborate. You can use the chat feature in Zoom. There's a chat feature here if you'd like. It's up to you guys. And I will be back at 1:30. So you guys got about like 11 minutes.
So ain't nobody gonna say nothing.
I'm half awake. Give me a grace period of an hour.
All right, I like what I'm seeing so far. I want to give you guys a bit more time because I do want to see what this would look like with Williams on here too. So take about 5 more minutes. Try to get something from Williams on there, and then we will be good to start going over it. If there's anyone in here, oh, someone in chat. Okay. At the very least, I need a central idea here for Williams. So I'll give you a couple minutes to get something on there, and then we'll go over it. All right, let's go over what we got. Okay, so we'll go over this, and then after I'll show you what the last class came up with too, just so you can kind of get both perspectives. But let's look here. So under Marlowe, for our central idea, we've got love is nature. All right. Who put that down? Just out of curiosity. I do need, love is nature. I just need someone to explain what they meant.
I meant that his love is for nature. So, and the reason why I said it is because throughout the poem, he keeps relating his love back to natural things which you can find outside or in different places.
Okay. So throughout the work, Marlowe's speakers relating his feelings for love to the natural world. We got things like there's like a bed of roses, or was a gold in there somewhere. Good. So this idea that your love is literally proportional to nature. I think that's good. I like that. I think that you could expand this a bit if given more time, but I like the idea there. The supporting details are quotes: "Come live with me and be my love, and we will all the pleasures prove that valleys, groves, hills, and fields will just steepy mountain yields." Okay, so here we've got a pretty good description of all of these natural items. Let me pull the poem up really quick. So we've got all these examples of nature here: the valleys, the groves, the hills, the fields. Another good example, if you go down here, I will make the beds of roses and 1,000 fragrant posies. So this idea that the items that Marlowe's love is being represented by are crafted by things in nature. So you could take it there too. That's good. And then the reasoning you explained. Good. Okay. Rally. Nature provides needs for the world. All right. Can whoever wrote that, could you explain what you mean while I pull the poem up? So I'm curious as to what that's referring to exactly.
What you mean? You curious to
Well,
what is?
like what exactly does that mean? Nature provides needs for the world. Like how does it relate to the poem? So I'm not saying that it doesn't. I'm just saying that I need a little more explanation.
I'm trying to think.
Okay, no, that's fine. Give you a second. While you think, I will pull up the last classes so that we have it when we're ready. So while you're thinking, so the reason why I asked for clarification is because when we had talked about the poem in previous weeks, one of the things that we said was that this poem takes a more negative point of view toward what Marlowe was saying. So if we go back to it, if all the world and love were young, and truth in every shepherd's tongue, these pretty pleasures might me move to live with thee and be thy love. So if the world and love were young and the shepherd were telling the truth, then the pretty pleasures, which in previous weeks we had talked about, were like those, like the bed and the clothes and all of those things. The pretty pleasures might move this person to be with him. So right from the start here, this poem by Raleigh casts a lot of doubt compared to casts a lot of doubt on what Marlowe's original messaging was. And so when you say nature provides needs for the world, I guess I don't see how that necessarily correlates with that more negative and skeptical tone that the poem takes. So do you have any ideas on how that might relate, or you're not sure? Okay, that's okay. So we'll come back to that one. And then William. So we didn't get too much here, but we got the city's not peaceful, but nature is. So again, this kind of runs contrary to what the messaging of the poem is, because Marlowe's the only one here whose poem is in that pastoral style that really says that, okay, the country life is this beautiful, wonderful thing. William's poem is titled "Raleigh Was Right." So Raleigh's more skeptical viewpoint on the relationship between humanity and nature, that's something that Williams supports. So this doesn't really align with that. Let me show you really quickly what the last class had, just so you guys can see like different examples. Okay. So here are some examples of this. So we had three central ideas here from Marlowe. The first class said nature can help find love. I didn't think that was a perfect main idea, but I think it gets to the heart of what Marlowe's saying, is that nature and these feelings of love are very entwined with each other. For Raleigh, they said nature and love doesn't last forever, and I think that this one is pretty accurate to what the poem is trying to say, and this is kind of what I was going for with us. This recognition, because if we go back, this recognition that everything breaks down in nature and in love. Thy gowns, thy shoes, thy beds of roses soon break, soon wither, soon forgotten. Right? So nothing is permanent. Everything has a beginning, everything has an end. Meanwhile, Marlowe's saying that a person's relationship with nature is so harmonious as to perhaps last forever, right? And then Williams, nature and love can be described as a weapon. It cannot bring peace. This one, I'm not so sure if this is the most accurate description of the central idea, but at the very least, it aligns with what Raleigh was saying. Okay. So overall, good effort there. We just need to make sure that the messaging that we have is consistent. Because remember, these 3 poems are you can think of it as like one giant conversation, right? All 3 of these authors, even though they lived in vastly different times, are all addressing the same topic according to their own experiences and their own historical time. So you want to keep that in mind. Okay, so what we did with the last class and what I want to do with you guys, we'll just kind of go off of what they said here. But I had asked them what the topic of the 3 poems were, and they had said nature and also nature's relationship with humanity. So that's something we can add to ours here. So that is our topics. And then I asked them, okay, well, how can we turn these 3 central ideas? How can we relate them and narrow them down to just this one essential central idea, right? And what they had come up with was nature is a tool for love, but can be used as a weapon to break peace. Now, I thought that this was pretty good. There's a lot here. So there's a lot of different ideas that kind of oppose each other here. And the feedback that I'd given them is that this is sort of the conclusion that you would reach while you are writing, for example, your essay on the topic. And so I encouraged them to try to narrow it down even more. And I had to guide them a bit for it. And that's the reason why I'm going to just give this to you. But we had come up with humans have a relationship with nature, both positive and negative. So of these 3 poets, which one do you think is most likely to have a positive outlook toward the relationship between humans and nature?
Marlowe's.
Right. So Marlowe is going to have the most positive outlook. So then we got Raleigh and Williams. Williams, obviously, we just said agrees with Raleigh. And so those 2 are going to have a more negative outlook or a less harmonious opinion of the relationship. So I think when it comes down to it, when you guys are doing your outlines, when you guys are writing your 3 paragraphs on this topic, what I want you to really key in on is that the shared idea is that people have a relationship with nature, right? That no matter what, humans and nature interact. And so your job in writing the essay is to figure out who's positive, who's negative, and explain to me how each author basically puts their own spin on this idea. How does each author take humans have a relationship and run with it in their own way to make it something new and unique to them and their voice and their time? So Marlowe, he's going to have a whole different point of view. He comes from a different time period. Pastoral poetry was a popular genre back then. All of those things cause him to write his poem a certain way, right? And to have a certain opinion on this idea. In the same way, Raleigh has different experiences. He writes about different things. And so he's going to have a different viewpoint on this same idea. So your job in writing your outline and writing your 3 paragraphs is to figure out what each author's spin on this is, and then explain and then analyze it by taking evidence. Okay, so what did the author do in their poems to support it? So that's the main idea that we're looking for there. Any questions? Anything that isn't clear? Okay, so I'm going to have this available for you guys online, both this one and the morning classes. So you'll have both of them to access. I really encourage you to use these when you are writing the 3 paragraphs, when you're working on your outline. Okay, it's a good resource. It really gets you started, especially this part down here where we're really condensing these ideas. Does anyone have any questions about the prompt? Is the prompt clear to everyone? Or is there something that I should like re-explain or clarify? Oh, let me see here. Nope. Okay. So I'll take that as we're good. If not, let me know. Before you leave, though, I got to do 2 things. I have to explain one thing to you about one of the assignments, and then I have to take my screenshot for attendance, and then you guys will be good to go. So let's do this. I want to show you something really quick with this part of the assignment, the 3-paragraph essay part. For this section, now I know that a lot of this information is online, and so it's very tempting, very easy to take all of the ideas and copy them essentially. So I clicked on this part here, originality report. This does the same thing that turnitin.com does, where it'll compare what you wrote to stuff online, and it will tell me what percentage is plagiarized. It'll tell me where it's from. Okay, so this is turned on. So please make sure if you are referencing something online, I'm not saying that you can't do that. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. What I'm saying is you should use that as a tool to help you develop your own thinking. Okay, because the internet's here, it's here to stay, all that stuff, but use it as a tool. So I still expect that you all are including your own original thoughts. I'm expecting that you guys are putting in a lot of effort in crafting responses that are unique to you. So if this is turned on, now the cool thing about the way that Google implements this is that Google, before you turn it in, will tell you your own stats. So if it says, oh, but this looks like it's plagiarized, you can either fix it, quote it, whatever it is you need to do. But it'll give you an opportunity to correct it before you turn it in. So just keep that in mind. Everything's due on Friday, 11:59, just like usual. The other thing, before I take my attendance screenshot, grades, I posted grades. I still got more I have to post, so they'll probably be done either tonight or tomorrow. But I put in grades. The one thing about grades that I want you to note, because I got a couple questions about this, is some people will see that there's a number in some of the assignments, but it might be excused. The reason why it was excused despite there being a number is because the grade would hurt your overall grade. So let's say you have a B, but you got like a 60 on an assignment. I'll put in the number, but then I excuse it because the grading policy for this COVID stuff is that I cannot hurt your grade. So you still see the number, but it's not actually impacting you. Okay. If for some reason you notice that there's a grade that's lower, but I didn't excuse it, please let me know so that I could just make sure everything's accurate. But that's, so if you see that and you're confused, that's why. Okay. So next week we're going to start looking at a new story. I'll give you more information about that later in the week. I want you to focus on this though for right now. Make sure this is all done by Friday. Let me take my little screenshot. And if there's no questions, you guys are good to go. It's nice to see you guys. Well, to hear you guys. Hopefully you guys have a good week. And that's pretty much all I got for you. Have a great day too.
Excuse me, Kutchy.
What's up?
You asked something for a meeting with Miss Whitley. Am I in trouble or something?
I have something for a meeting.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
posted.
Oh no,
Who's
that
it?
was Lipscomb. Let's see here. Tyler and Adrian need you to attend Zoom on Friday, either 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. with myself, Miss Williams, Mr. Monston. I'm assuming it's just an IEP related thing.
Oh, all
But
right.
I can ask him.
Oh, and also about the whole originality thing.
Yes.
Can I copy and paste some of the parts of the text? Because that's what I usually do in notation.
So you mean like parts of the poem?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just make sure that you quote it, you give it a citation, even if it says it's copied, as long as it's quoted and cited, you're good. Okay.
All right.
Cool. Anything else?
That
All right. Awesome. Have a good one.
you too.